What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy. Can't tell YouTube shit. Hey man, we are Lit that team, man. Turn. Take to motherfucker day. Show him outside. Big crip in the gang. Show him outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia deal thing in Texas. Stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you who you are, but also never put yourself in a position to belong. Let's stay humble. Let's go on a revolution on this movement. Keep your way first. Come to the Black Hebrew Israelite. As a real Jew, we out you. Alright. Boom. Take to motherfucker day. Show him outside. Big crip in the gang. Show him outside shit, man. Turn up, and nigga go, bruh. So, all these mass church shootings, bruh, has been going crazy. If it's not that, it's schools. If not that, they probably doing hospitals. It's just a lot of stuff, man, that's happening by the Caucasian, white, Caucasoid race, white people. You know what I'm saying? They have been doing a lot of mass shooting for a long time. Schools, all types of stuff. So we got this Michigan shooting. I don't really know the white dude name. Crazy shit. And then we're gonna talk about the Charleston town school shooting by that one white dude, man. Who got Burger King. Bruh, this shit been wild. Let's get into this bitch. I'm telling y'all people, man, these white people are out of control, man. Michigan church shooting. This just happened. Some white dude did it.
Their swift response. I want to thank local fire and EMS.
These white people always shooting churches,
and caring for those who
schools,
are still fighting.
Hospitals.
And thank the incredible Department of Natural Resources Conservation Officer and the local Grand Blacc officer for their brave actions to take down the shooter and their quick response. I think we can see the best of public service in all of these individuals. As I said, I'm here as the governor.
That's some goofy
I'm
ass
also
shit.
here as a fellow Michigander whose heart is breaking by another mass shooting in a place that is supposed to be defined by togetherness and a close-knit community here in Grand Blacc. As a state, we know the pain of this too well. We've seen gun violence in our schools, stores, parades, festivals, and our houses of worship. These are places that we go to feel connected, to feel safe, to be together. But today, this place has been shattered by bullets and broken glass. And it's like
wild, bro.
Pain, but it hurts all the same. Every time. We cannot keep living our lives like this. I know that this community is...
I don't know. They say it's a Mormon church, but it could have been... I don't know.
Your grief is our grief. I ordered flags lowered statewide, and I spoke with President
Trump getting wild in a bitch
to share his condolences. We will be here every step of the way and coordinate a full response with our local and federal partners. Folks,
y'all white people out of control, man. Y'all crackers on it's just goofy shit.
There's one thing I know about
you know what I'm saying?
Is that we get through hard things together. And that's who we are. That's how the good people here
y'all should have schools,
Church of Jesus Christ
churches,
Latter-day Saints,
hospitals,
their lives.
goofy.
They worship together, they sing together, and they serve together. And that's why I was so proud to see powerful statements from interfaith leaders across Michigan denouncing this attack on a house of worship. They grieved for this congregation as though it was their own. They spoke with one voice for the basic principle that we all believe in, that you should be able to pray in peace in our state, no matter who you are.
They don't care.
I know that in the hours and days ahead, we will see the best of Michigan. We will see neighbors being neighborly, checking in with a call, bringing over some food, or offering a hug. We'll see medical providers work hard to save lives and treat those in need, with scars both seen and unseen. We will see this congregation unite and rally together like never before, and continue worshiping together, singing together, and serving together. Because that's who Michiganders are. We will stay in close contact and continue to work together. Now, like everyone I know, we have lots of questions. How did this happen? What created this
So y'all probably gave him the tool in the plot.
And that's motivated by a genuine motivation to understand, to learn, to prevent in the future. But I want to caution.
Doing that like, damn, that's supposed to be my school.
Working hard.
It is.
All the good men and women who are working hard are doing so with due diligence. At this juncture, speculation is unhelpful.
I told not that school.
Dangerous.
The other school.
So, just ask that people lower the
Build
temperature of rhetoric.
You're supposed to let the people come out the church, then take the church down. It is.
Let's keep doing the work together. Let's be kind and let's love our neighbors. Thank you, and now I'd like to introduce.
You're supposed to take the money out the church, then burn it. Glass. Like, bruh.
Thank you,
Goofy
Governor,
shit, nigga.
Good afternoon. In this community,
Man, I tell you, man, these white people are out of control, man. Crip.
We are offering our deepest condolences to those affected by this tragedy. This horrific event is something that this community has never experienced. It is important at this time that we come together to support one another in this time of grief. We stand ready and willing to assist both our local and federal partners with any additional needs as this investigation continues. The Michigan State Police immediately responded alongside our public safety partners to secure the scene, provide support to our neighbors, with our emergency support team serving search warrants, the bomb squad and K-9 team sweeping numerous locations for evidence and explosives. Additionally, our forensic science laboratories and our special investigation section continue to investigate the officer-involved shooting and work alongside our federal and local partners. I'd like to take a moment for everybody to remember that last year we put together an initiative called Stop the Plot. While we are committed to keeping our community safe, we also need your help. Again, it takes everybody. 53% of mass attacks leave a trail of clues leading up to them. And 2/3 of mass attackers elicited behavior that cause concerns. So we are asking our communities to stay vigilant, and if you see something suspicious, please contact local law enforcement or 911 immediately. We will keep the family in our prayers here at MSP as they continue to cover and we work together. Thank you for your time. Next up, we will have from the ATS. Thank you. We will have ATS Special Agent in Charge for Michigan, James Deere.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Deere with ATF. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for ATF Michigan. On behalf of the men and women of ATF, I offer my deepest sympathy and condolences to this community and to the families affected by this tragedy, this horrific act of violence. There is no place in our society for this. There's absolutely no place. But it's become all too common. And as we know, we have become more and more desensitized. This community is hurting, and we are here to help them heal. As part of that healing process, ATF has brought in their national response team. This is a cadre of world-renowned investigators for arson and explosive incidents. They have been used all over the world, and they come from places as far as California, Hawaii, and they're here in Michigan now. They arrived last night. They've briefed. They're examining the scene, and that is what they're doing at this point. From ATF's perspective, I would encourage the community not to travel by the church. Those roads have been blocked off and access is controlled. While that might be a little disheveling for folks, that we need that scene security for our investigators as they dig out this scene. So with that in mind, that's our ask for the community. We are also looking at improvised explosive devices that were recovered during this investigation and looking towards that end as well. I need to introduce the acting Special Agent in Charge for the FBI of Detroit, Michigan, Ruben Coleman.
My name is Ruben Coleman. I'm Acting Special Agent in Charge of FBI Detroit Field Office, which represents the entire state. At this time, we wanted to provide an update on our investigative efforts regarding yesterday's tragic shooting at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. First, I want to express my gratitude for all the cross-agency collaboration between our federal, state, and local partners. Their support has been outstanding and critical to this investigation. We are in lockstep with our partners as we continue to work through this. As I mentioned yesterday, the FBI is investigating this as an act of targeted violence, and we are continuing to work to determine a motive. In the past 24 hours, our investigative squads and specialty teams have been out all night, exhausting leads, some of which have been coming in from the public via tips. Our special agents, victim specialists, child advocate forensic interviewers, and local partners have interviewed over 100 victims and witnesses to date and are continuing to interview individuals as we speak. Our Evidence Response Team, or ERT, which is a specialized team of special agents, intelligence analysts, and professional staff, are trained to process crime scenes and collect evidence. They were out all night and continue processing the scene as we speak. Our field office has stood up national equities for support. We are engaging with our Behavioral Analyst Unit, or BAU, and have received
at the end of the day,
Quantico Labs Division to analyze evidence collected to date.
I feel like
assistance from our FBI field offices across the country
they
to
trying,
support this case and follow down leads.
but
While our focus is on this
everybody got a
investigation,
reason to why
we want to
they
continue
did
to keep
something.
the victims and their
We don't know why the
families
nigga, the shooter did what
as
he
they navigate
did.
through this incredibly difficult time. Please continue to reach out to the FBI via 1-800
You know what I'm saying?
call
They're making it
FBI
reasonable.
or submit tips at tips.fbi.gov. Thank you, Chief.
You prepare in peace to perform in chaos. I saw it live. I saw what you trained for,
He's a big goofy
what
ass.
you planned for, and then reality hit yesterday morning on a bright sunny day when people went to worship. But what I also saw is every level of government law enforcement work together
Ain't do
for the
shit.
good of the people. What I witnessed was people putting their lives at risk that had 2 months on the job as an EMT, or brand new firefighters.
Y'all ain't do shit.
And law enforcement, just to bring a sense of stability to a scene that was chaotic and dynamic. As the sheriff of this county, I see the great people every day. But I want this community to know that those ranks in those agencies that were mentioned before me, we worked together. We worked in concert, and we did the job. And there's more to do. I will tell you, the sheriff's office dedicated every county sheriff medic that we had available, patrol, investigators, we did interviews, emergency management, whatever the task was needed. The sheriff's office worked with everybody that you heard and many that you don't know to bring justice and also order to this scene. But I will tell you, the days are continuing. We have 31 marked cars on as we speak, making sure schools that are in session, in churches that are planning Bible studies, regardless of faith base, that they will be protected. Anybody who calls in, we will be there, like other law enforcement, to settle the community.
A little too late, buddy.
Calmness to people. There is an uncertainty. But law enforcement, especially the sheriff's office, will bring that to you.
Yeah, you gonna shoot the random ass motherfuckers now? Just go looking around and just go shooting people now. There wasn't enough damage.
You're gonna hear
Let's fuck some more shit up.
Lay out this case with law enforcement, but I will tell you this: those heroes from that church did their job, and it was led because of a police department So law enforcement from this township is led by a chief who demonstrated leadership right out of the gate. And
Man, stop kissing each other ass,
to announce
bitch.
him as the final
Y'all ain't do
speaker,
shit.
Chief Rennie of Grambling Township.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Motherfuckers, a lot of people died in that motherfucker.
Evil. This was an evil act of violence. That's exactly what this was. And this is not Grand Blanc. This does not define Grand Blanc and who we are. We are a community, and I am confident that together we're going to build a stronger community due to this incident. Now, an update. This left 5 people dead, 8 people injured. As I said, this is an evil act. It does not define Grand Blanc or who we are. At this time, what we know is everyone has been accounted for. We still are in the process of clearing out that church, but at this time, everyone is accounted for. We ask that you stay away from the scene. Let us work to clear this call so then we can get back to normal. That's what we all want. Grand Blanc Township police officers, the community of Grand Blanc Township, we're hurting. And we know that you are hurting as well with us. I want to remind you that we have the Family Assistance Center open. They will be open Monday and Tuesday at the Genesis Athletic Club from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That address is 801 Health Park Boulevard, Grand Blanc, Michigan 48439. Seek service, let's come back together and be stronger together and better. I'll open it up at this time for any questions. Sir.
Good question. When it comes to the act of violence, can you define why it's considered an act of violence and not more serious like terrorism?
I will let Agent Coleman speak to that particular question.
Yes, as of right now, we are calling it an act of violence as this is an investigation that is continuing. We are continuing to receive leads. We're continuing to run down all information. And once we're able to...
Y'all look like goofballs out here. Y'all ain't doing shit.
That's when we'll make those statements. But as of right now, this is an act of violence.
Can I follow up on that, please? You called this an act of targeted violence. Can you tell us who you believe the target was? A specific person, the LDS Church, another group?
Well, as of right now, again, as this is an ongoing investigation, what I would say is when I say targeted violence, I mean targeted within our state and within our community. Right now, what we are here for are the families and the victims, and we're going to work diligently in order to make sure we can bring closure for them as well.
Can you speak about the motive? There was some chatter that the suspect's ex-girlfriend was informant or something of that nature, general amount about that. Is that something that you can speak to or is possible motive?
That is something I cannot speak to at this point in time.
Nigga look like the nigga off of Batman.
Church, can you share any information on that, why they were arrested, what their intentions were?
Yes, Chief.
Yes, I could speak on that. Yes, there was an incident out there. We are still in the process of investigating that incident, whether or not it's related or not. I could tell you that we do have a 21-year-old person in custody for that incident right now.
Does the suspect have any prior criminal history or no contact with law enforcement?
Are you talking about the suspect from yesterday or today?
The suspect.
The suspect from yesterday has been arrested by law enforcement in the past.
And the 5 dead, does that include the suspect or is that?
The 5 dead includes the suspect.
Can you give any details on what those prior arrests were?
Burglary and OWI.
What agencies? Genesee County.
That I can't give you 100%.
What do we know?
Terry.
No, so I just want to clarify. No more than you search the church yet.
We have not completed search in the church, but as we know, everyone has been accounted for. That's going to be all the questions that we answered today. If you this is our last press conference. If there's other pertinent information that develops, we will
y'all
let
ain't
you guys
doing
all
shit.
know and post that on our social media account, Grand Blanc Township Police Department Facebook page. Thank you.
Sorry. I'd just like to note that Dr. Michael Danek, the medical chief of staff from Henry Ford Genesis, will be available for questions after this news conference. He's here.
You should
on
learn
the
to fucking doctor, bitch.
Does anybody need any spelling of names?
Spell these nuts.
No?
And this is the dude we should have been looking at This it's different for the doctor.
Hi everybody, I'm Lauren Zakalik. I'm
We're gonna see what
PR
really
director at
happened.
Henry Ford Health. I'm going to introduce now Dr. Michael Danick, normal spelling for Michael, D-A-N-I-C. He is our medical chief of staff at Henry Ford Genesis Hospital. He's going to make some opening remarks, talk about what happened yesterday. We'll take a few questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a very sad day for our community. Our law enforcement did amazing, as well as our medical staff throughout the entire Genesee County area. Henry Ford Genesis prepared and did extremely well. And we also like to thank Hurley and McLaren for taking great care of all the patients. An update on what we've had is we had a total of 8 patients at Henry Ford Genesis from the ages of 6 to 78. 5 were gunshot wounds and 3 were smoke inhalations. 2 of the smoke inhalations have been discharged. 1 is still intubated at this time. For the gunshot wounds, 1 had sustained gunshot wounds, multiple to the chest and abdomen. It's in critical condition. 1 had to the abdomen, is in critical condition still, but mostly stable. 1 of the victims did die in the emergency department. 1 child came in, was stabilized, and then transferred. And then there was another gentleman who had a gunshot on the leg. The trauma team was really well prepared for this. They activated the Mass Casualty Incident Command. Our trauma surgeon, Christopher Ash, was on the team, and John Vance, one of our other trauma surgeons, helped lead the charge. Dr. Sandy Ross was the ER attending at the time and did a phenomenal job of triaging. All of the community members came together. We hate having to prepare for these kind of events, but we are prepared, as well as the other hospitals in our community. We're very grateful to be helping to serve this community, and will continue to do for years to come. So, any questions?
Y'all say what round struck the victims? You said some were shot in the chest and abdomen. Was this with rifle, round handgun? Can you speak?
I don't have information on the caliber.
How many were under the age of 18?
I don't have that answer either.
What was the age range?
It was 6 to 78.
Of the people back to the church after it was evacuated, do you know anything about the suspected cause of death?
I do not, and I can't extrapolate either.
Can you tell us more about the child? Like you mentioned, was that child shot, boy or girl, 6-year-old?
Had an injury to the arm, and out of an abundance of caution, was transferred to another hospital.
What was the injury in that child?
I can't verify that.
Dr. Danick was one of the physicians that was treating patients yesterday. If anybody wants to ask him about his experience and his need there.
I will say it was very interesting taking care of our community members in this kind of a traumatic experience. We had a number of our residents who were members of the church and were on site. Not only were they victims, they were also first responders. And having your friends and family come in injured and taking care of them is a really incredible experience. They were heroes. Those on the scene were absolute heroes, going in and out of the fire to drag people out, helping each other take care of the victims on the scene. And the community really came together.
I wanted to ask, have you ever seen anything even like to this extent in our community, and what was that like for you to respond to?
Never in our community. A lot of us who have trained in the trauma settings have dealt with gunshot wounds, so everyone who's on the staff there has dealt with these types of injuries in the past. It's just strange when it's your community hospital.
Last question. There were some nurses that were on strike and wanted help and then were turned away. Are you able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're very happy that the instinct was to help, and we have a great loving community, and the instinct was there. But I cannot comment.
Shout out to Documentary Evil. We got the 2015 Charleston church shooting.
I had to do it because somebody had to do something. After shooting in the theater, I didn't have a plan of whether to die here or not.
If you enjoy this video and want to support the channel further, please consider becoming a member so you guys can get special perks. Click the join button below or follow the link in the description to join. Anyway, let's get to it. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I will be redoing another old video of mine to improve it. Thank you all for the consistent support, and I hope you enjoy it. Dylan Storm Roof was born on April 3rd, 1994, in South Carolina, to parents Amelia and Franklin Roof, who were divorced just years before Dylan's birth. Due to the separation, Dylan would regularly jump back and forth, living at both his mother's and father's house, but spent most of the time at his father's house.
Experience the difference at
Spent most of the time at his father's house. His father would end up marrying another lady, who took the role as Dylan's mother, often caring for him and his sister, taking them both to attend fun activities together. Records show that Dylan's father was a controlling and abusive man, often verbally and emotionally belittling his new wife. Dylan's father would even put hands on his wife, leaving behind bruises that she would document by taking photos of them for later evidence. She also stated that he would call her multiple times a day, demanding to know where she was and what she was doing. He was said to have even taken away her source of income, controlling every cent she spent, even if it was food for the kids. It makes you wonder if Dylan ever witnessed this abuse as a kid, and if so, what kind of effect did this have on his mind? Now living in Florida at this point, Franklin would often have to leave town for weeks at a time for work, leaving his wife to care for the children in the house, including Dylan and his sister. Eventually, after having enough of the abuse and living in fear, she filed for a divorce in 2008, after 10 years of being with Franklin. In a court statement, she wrote, "I was so scared of him that I knew I had to get out of this violent situation. He controlled my whereabouts, the checkbook, and everything about my life. On September 20th, 2008, my whole world fell apart when Ben and I got into an argument. Ben violently pushed me to the ground and hit me in the back of my head. Sadly, for Dylan, his stepmother could not take him with her, but I personally think that if she could have, she would have, possibly changing who Dylan would grow up to be. With his stepmom out of his life, it seemed the only good influence for Dylan was gone. I just wanted to note, I never saw anything that stated that Dylan was ever abused by his father. But nevertheless, his father's abuse to his stepmother was apparent, and despite this, he was still left in his care. Around this time, Dylan's father moved the family back to South Carolina, where they would remain for the duration of this video. Dylan was once again jumping back and forth from his mother's and father's house. And according to reports, Dylan worked with his father, doing landscaping work, in which he was paid. Dylan often complained to his friends about his father making him work, and around this time, Dylan began to spiral down another path that many normal teenagers find themselves on. After a workday, and being paid by his dad, Dylan went and blew the money on marijuana. His mother soon found out about it, and subsequently grounded Dylan. Marijuana became a gateway drug for Dylan, as it's pretty clear from the reports that I will go over in a minute. According to some teachers and friends of Dylan, there was never any evidence of Dylan being racist or ever saying anything racist. Also, it's worth noting that Dylan didn't just have white friends, he also had multiple black friends, who all stated that they never saw any sign of Dylan being racist either. So Dylan was either good at hiding his feelings, or at this point of his life, he was not the racist person that we all know. In his later writings, Dylan would state that the Trayvon Martin case is what started his racist views. But even then, most people state they never saw or heard about Dylan's true beliefs, and it seemed that Dylan kept all of his personal beliefs locked away from anyone but himself. Dylan continued school, while his father was still absent when he went away for work. During his absence, Dylan started experimenting with drugs and began to dissociate with school. During this time, classmates note that Dylan was remembered for making racist jokes and talking about his, quote, Southern pride. Nobody took these jokes seriously, and eventually, he dropped out of school completely, losing contact with most of his friends. The next time some of his friends would interact with Dylan, he would be a completely different person. February 26, 2012, was the day Trayvon Martin was fatally shot by George Zimmerman, triggering a nationwide protest. I'm not going to go into full detail on the case, but according to Dylan himself, he says the shooting was the event that truly awakened him. He couldn't see what the big deal was with the killing and couldn't understand why everyone was making such a big deal about the whole situation. He stated that the shooting prompted him to look up black on white crime on Google, and after that, he states, quote, "I was never the same since." Dylan's point of view on race changed entirely during this time. He writes about his feelings and beliefs on multiple races in his manifesto, critiquing everything about them. He ends his manifesto with, quote, "No one else has any responsibility for what I have done. I planned and went about it completely alone. I repeat, do not try and punish other people for my actions, because you couldn't punish me. This is wrong and cruel." On February 28th of 2015, while Dylan was hanging around inside the Columbiana Mall, people got a bad feeling from him when he began acting suspicious inside several stores. Dylan was dressed in all black, and nobody knew what his intentions were. One store employee was approached by Dylan as she worked. She stated that Dylan was asking her strange questions about the work schedules, like what time they arrive and when they get off. She stated that Dylan seemed like he was on drugs. Acting suspicious and making people uncomfortable triggered the employee to call security. Security from the mall called the police and had them make contact with Dylan. When police arrived, an officer questioned him on why he was asking these types of questions, and Dylan told them that his parents were pressuring him into getting a job and claimed that he was just looking around for employment, despite not having a single application in his possession. According to the officer, Dylan appeared nervous when asked if he had anything illegal on him. Dylan said that he had nothing illegal on him, and the officer asked if he could perform a quick search of his person to make sure. Dylan agreed and was subsequently searched. Not long after the search started, the officer found a pill bottle that was missing the label. The contents of the bottle appeared to be unidentifiable orange strips that Dylan claimed to be Listerine strips. The officer did not believe Dylan and pressed him for the truth. Dylan then came clean, telling the officer that the strips were actually the drug, Suboxone. Suboxone is a prescription drug used to treat narcotic addiction. It can also help stabilize a person going through withdrawals. Why would Dylan have this in his possession? Was he possibly going through narcotic withdrawals, or was he selling it? I'm not sure. He was later charged with misdemeanor drug possession for the recovered Suboxone. He was also trespassed from the mall for a year. About a week after this incident, another police officer who was off duty at the time was at Earlwood Park when he recognized Dylan from the mall after seeing him loitering inside of his car. Dylan was questioned about why he was loitering in the park. Dylan states he was not allowed to be home when his father wasn't present, and officers found this suspicious, especially when Dylan said he could have stayed home, but did not want to. The officer asked if they could search his vehicle for anything illegal due to his background. Dylan agreed, and another search commenced. Police found 6 40-round rifle magazines, along with a part to a rifle. The weapon was not found inside the vehicle. Dylan told police that he was hoping to soon buy an AR-15 to use at a range, but did not have enough money at the time to do so. After the search, Dylan was free to go, seeing that no crime had been committed. Just the next month, Dylan turned 21 and was given money by his father for his birthday. Dylan used this money and went and bought himself a .45 caliber Glock handgun.
Damn.
He was seen on surveillance footage, visiting a local gun store where he picked up the handgun. Dylan filled out the required paperwork for the weapon and went through the background check process. With Dylan's drug possession charge, he shouldn't have been able to pass the background check. But according to the FBI, the examiner assigned to Dylan's paperwork was unable to find a conviction for the crime and dug deeper into his background. Several mistakes on his rap sheet had the examiner stuck and unable to fail or even pass Dylan's background check. Under the 1994 Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, if the gun dealer does not hear back from the FBI within 3 business days, they are able to move along with the purchase and hand over the weapon to the buyer on the 4th day, which is exactly what happened in this case. Dylan had successfully obtained the Glock 45, and as seen in this video, Target practiced with it in his yard.
Got the beam in that bitch.
That same month, Dylan returned to the Columbiana Mall, despite being trespassed from it for the rest of the year. He was arrested and charged with trespassing, and was ordered to pay a fee of $262. Also in 2015, Dylan decided to make a Facebook page and would contact some of his old friends through the platform. He also quit his landscaping job, but never told his parents. While his parents believed he was working, Dylan was actually hanging out with friends. He would normally spend the night with them, doing things like drinking, watching movies, and doing cocaine, regularly crashing on their couch. According to Dylan's friend, Joey Meek, he would occasionally share his racial views, and on one occasion, after smoking marijuana, doing coke, and drinking vodka, Dylan was out of it, and he started talking about wanting to ignite a race war. Dylan told Meek how he had been planning something big for the past 6 months. Meek said that Dylan had told him that his plan was to kill African Americans at a historic church in Charleston, South Carolina on a Wednesday evening. Meek could tell that Dylan was out of it and decided it would be best to disarm him. Meek took Dylan's car keys and gun, stashing them in the ceiling of his home, but gave it back to him in the morning because he didn't want to get in trouble for taking the weapon, as he was on probation at the time. I believe that Dylan carefully picked friends to be open with, judging from the fact that another friend, Kristen Scriven, who was present that night, stated that Dylan never said anything racist around him. He even backs up Meeks' story that Dylan had brought up the conversation about the plan, but his recount of the conversation was completely different from Meeks. Scriven said that Dylan told him about a plan to shoot up the College of Charleston, and said that Dylan told him the students had 7 days to live. I think it's worth mentioning that Kristen Scriven is black, and that could explain why Dylan chose to keep his real plan away from him. Let me know what you think. Despite the two now knowing that Dylan was planning to commit a mass shooting, and that he was in possession of a weapon, they never once alerted anyone of the troubling statements, until it was too late. Dylan claims to have targeted Emmanuel AME because the attendees were predominantly black and because it was historic.
We had slavery, and then the other reason is just because that AME church was historic too. It was an historic AME church.
What's your
too? It was an historic AME church. I guess that's pretty much the reason.
He states he didn't go to another church because there could have been white people, and when asked if he didn't want to shoot any white people, Dylan laughs and responds no.
So that's why you chose that church?
Oh, yes.
But they wanted to get that nigga a Medal of Honor when he said that shit. Get a nigga the Purple Heart.
I wasn't going to go to another church.
They wanted to go there. Why he do the Purple Heart when he said that shit?
No.
You just wanted to...
They about to get that nigga. They about to get that nigga a statue, everything.
What was the reason why you're from?
It's not exactly clear when Dylan chose the church as his main target, but a list of churches was later found during a search inside of his vehicle. I know that Dylan visited and called the Emmanuel AME church on multiple occasions before the actual shooting took place, but I'm not sure if he visited the other churches he had written on his list. According to the GPS system of Dylan's car, Dylan had first visited the church on December 22nd, 2014. He then returned on February 23rd, February 27th, April 25th, May 9th, and May 16th. On one of these trips, Dylan stated that as he was walking past the church, he noticed a lady getting into her car and decided to ask her when the church service was.
You said as you were driving by once, correct me if I'm wrong, you saw somebody getting into the car, so you asked...
I was walking.
You were walking, and you saw somebody getting into a car, so you asked about a Bible study, is that correct?
No, I just asked when is the church service? And then she told me the church service in the Bible study or something like that, the times or something.
Is that an African American woman or white?
Yes. Well, this is an African Methodist Episcopal. Is that what AME stands for? I think that's what it stands for.
So that's why you chose that church?
Oh, yes.
Being helpful, she gave him the church service and Bible study dates and times. It's very unfortunate his friends chose not to report the threats, and although they claimed that they thought Dylan was joking, Dylan would go ahead with his plan just the next week. June 16th, 2015. Dylan stayed the night at his friend Joey Meek's home. He probably stayed up late partying like they would normally do. The next morning, on June 17th, Joey Meek recalls Dylan sleeping inside his vehicle. At some point of that day, Dylan had given Meek and his brother a ride to a nearby lake. When they asked Dylan if he wanted to join, Dylan stated that he did not like the outdoors and that he was going to go see a movie instead, and left the two Meek brothers at the lake. Little did they know, Dylan would go carry out his attack later that day. At around 8 p.m., Dylan was seen driving into the parking lot of AME Church. He parks his car near the door and exits his car at 8:16 and casually walks to the door of the church. He pauses for a second before entering, looking down at the pouch on his belt that contained his weapon and ammunition. As Dylan walked into the church, he was welcomed inside and handed a Bible and a study sheet. He then took a seat at a table. Keep in mind, this church was predominantly black, but Dylan was still welcomed inside as the only white person that night. I've done my best to recreate the interior of the church using a police diagram. I also used multiple videos to get an approximate location of where Dylan was seated. In this Snapchat video taken by Tywanza Sanders, shows Dylan seated in this location. I located some of the same surroundings in this video posted to YouTube by CNN. In the background, you can see the same two wall posters from the Snapchat video. Also, in this evidence photo, the same two posters are seen. There is also a belt visible on the floor of this photo. This was a huge help narrowing down where Dylan was seated. When police sketched out their evidence diagram, they actually marked down the location of the belt. Using this diagram, it's possible that Dylan was seated in this location here. Keep in mind, this animation is not entirely accurate. I used the locations of recovered shell casings to assume Dylan's path through the church. Dylan spent almost an hour inside the church, never speaking to anyone inside. A survivor from that night, Felicia Sanders, said that Dylan chuckled when someone inside told a funny story. It seemed like Dylan was contemplating doing the shooting, or maybe he was just waiting for the right moment. Anyway, after almost an hour, the group inside the church all closed their eyes and bowed their heads to pray. This is when Dylan took the opportunity to pull his weapon from the pouch he had on his waist. Without hesitation, Dylan opened fire on the group when they were the most defenseless. I was not able to find the location of the victims during my research, so I chose not to include them in this animation. But using the locations of the shell casings, you can only imagine where the victims lay. Dylan first opened fire on 41-year-old Clementa Pinckney from a seated position, killing him. He quickly got up and opened fire when 74-year-old Daniel Simmons rushed towards him shouting, "Let me check on my pastor. I need to check on my pastor." Simmons was immediately killed by gunfire. Dylan casually executed the church attendees, walking around the room firing and reloading multiple times. Dylan was said to have emptied an entire magazine on 87-year-old Susie Jackson. At some point during the shooting, 26-year-old Tywanza Sanders stood up to confront Dylan, despite already being shot. Tywanza asked Dylan, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? We mean you no harm." Dylan responded by saying, "I have to do this. Y'all are taking over the world." Dylan then opened fire on Tywanza, killing him. Tywanza's mother, Felicia Sanders, witnessed the death of her son in front of her own eyes. Felicia Sanders stated, "I watched him take his last breath. I watched my son come into this world. I watched my son leave this life." Felicia played dead underneath a table next to her dying son, holding her 11-year-old granddaughter in her arms. Fortunately, the two would survive this terrible nightmare. Sometime in the middle of shooting, Dylan approached 70-year-old Polly Shepard and told her to shut up, asking her, "Did I shoot you?" She replied, "No." Dylan then told her, "I'm not going to. I'm going to let you live to tell the story." Dylan then continued firing, claiming the lives of 5 more people: 59-year-old Myra Thompson, 45-year-old Sharonda Singleton, 49-year-old DePayne Doctor, 70-year-old Ethel Lance, and 54-year-old Cynthia Hurd. The victims were later collectively referred to as the Emmanuel 9. 9 people inside the church, he made his way to the door and dropped his pistol bag near the entrance, before making his escape out the same door he came in from. Dylan then got into his car and drove out of the parking lot and into the night. According to the GPS in Dylan's car, he drove about 30 miles away, directly to the Branch AME Church in Summerville, South Carolina. He arrived at the church, and according to the GPS system, Dylan shut his car off and sat outside of the building. Fortunately, the Bible study at Branch AME had been canceled that night, so Dylan got back into his car and continued driving. This suggests that Dylan was planning to attack multiple targets that day, but after this failure, he just kept driving. His exact path is unknown, but what is known is Dylan stopped at a gas station and withdrew $20 to buy food. He then headed north and drove all the way to North Carolina. After police viewed the surveillance video from the church, Dylan's picture and vehicle was posted all over social media and the news, notifying citizens to be on the lookout. Dylan's father and uncle both contacted authorities after recognizing Dylan in the photos. About 14 hours later, Dylan was driving down a highway in North Carolina. At the same time, a woman was driving to work when she noticed Dylan's car driving near her. She thought, "No, it can't be him." That is when she got a closer look at the driver and quickly realized she was looking right at the shooting suspect. She quickly called her boss and told him about the car, explaining to him that she thinks it's the church shooter. He then asked her where she was and was given the location. She continued to follow Dylan for miles, feeding her boss information while he called 911. As police rushed to the scene, the lady kept following Dylan, up until she saw police had arrived. Dashcam footage shows multiple patrol cars closing in on Dylan. Noticing he was screwed, Dylan pulled off the road without hesitation. With guns drawn, police pulled Dylan from the vehicle and searched him and his car. Dylan was then taken into custody and led away to a patrol car. He was taken to the Shelby Police Department, where he was questioned for 2 hours and given Burger King after he complained about being hungry. I'm not going to go into the questioning anymore, but if you are interested, you can find the full 2-hour-long video here on YouTube.
King. I told you,
Anyway,
nigga, bro.
Afterwards, he was escorted out of the Shelby
That
Police
nigga
Department,
Burger King,
where he was
bitch.
photographed wearing a
That
bulletproof
nigga Purple
vest.
Heart.
He was taken to the Cleveland County Courthouse, where he voluntarily agreed to be flown back to
Sky
South
top
Dakota.
roof, nigga. Pool in ballet.
Later that same day, Dylan left the courthouse and was driven to the Shelby Municipal Airport, where he boarded a plane back to South Dakota.
They treat that nigga like a hero. Got him a private jet.
At Dylan's bond hearing, he was charged with 9 counts of murder,
They treat that cracker
possession
like
of
a
a
hero.
firearm while committing a violent crime, and 24 civil rights violations. It was during this bond hearing that one of the victim's family members spoke out to Dylan. While crying, she stated that she forgives him and hopes that God has mercy on his soul. Dylan kept his eyes to the floor and never shed a tear during the statement. On September 3rd, solicitor Scarlett Wilson read a statement stating that she would push the death penalty for Dylan Roof, calling the crime, quote, "the ultimate crime that deserved the ultimate punishment." Dylan told his attorney that he was willing to plead guilty to the state murder charges if that kept him out of the death penalty. But without an agreement, Dylan still pleaded guilty to the 9 state counts of murder and was sentenced to 9 consecutive life sentences. In 2016, Dylan was alone in the showers of the prison when another inmate walked in. Dylan was supposed to be alone, with all the other inmates locked down in their cell, but because of a door malfunction, the inmate was able to open his cell door and make his way to the shower. The inmate asked Dylan, "Mind if I join?" before attacking and assaulting Dylan. He was found badly beaten and on the floor of the shower, laying in the fetal position. Dylan is very lucky the inmate chose to spare his life, because he could have easily killed Dylan before anyone noticed. On December 15th, 2016, Dylan was finally found guilty on all 33 counts. Dylan was eventually sentenced to death on January 11th of 2017. He would try to appeal the sentence, but with no avail. During the appeal, his lawyers claimed that Dylan was not mentally fit during the trial, stating that Dylan had masked his mental illness during it. Dylan had no intention of claiming a mental illness caused him to kill people that day, and did not want his defense team to do so either. Dylan would ultimately end up firing his attorneys after they tried pushing the idea that he was not mentally fit to stand trial. Around this time, something else came to light. Joey Meek, Dylan's friend, was caught lying to the FBI. When the reports started being broadcasted about the shooting, Joey and another friend of Dylan's knew this could have been Dylan's doing. The unnamed friend was about to call the police to report Dylan when Joey stopped him and talked him out of going to the police. Joey Meek was sentenced to 27 months in prison for not reporting the crime to authorities. I'm going to go over 2 specific pages in Dylan's jail journal, where he expresses no remorse and continues to talk about race. The page reads, "To wrap this up, white people are pretending. Grown adults waiting around playing pretend. Pretending we are all the same and equal.
That's how
Pretending
they feel.
that nothing bad is happening and pretending like they have a future. Well, unless we take real, possibly violent action, we have no future. Literally, I am 21 years old, and I don't play pretend. I couldn't go another day without doing something. I couldn't live with myself seeing these things happen to my people and doing nothing about it. Sometimes sitting in my cell, I think about how nice it would be to watch a movie, or eat
Y'all
some
some
good food,
pussies.
or drive my car somewhere.
Fuck out of here, cause y'all just
Then I
got the
remember
hard
how I
knocks.
felt when I did
Get
these
the
things,
fuck on
and how I
somewhere.
knew I had to do something.
Pussies.
And then I realized it was worth it. I would rather live imprisoned knowing I took action for my race than to live with the torture of sitting idle.
You privileged ass
He then
bitches.
ends the page with, "I would like to make it crystal clear. I do not regret what I did. I am not sorry. I have not shed a tear for the innocent people I killed. I do feel sorry for the innocent white children forced to live in this sick country, and I do feel sorry for the innocent white people that are killed daily at the hands of the lower races. I have shed a tear of self-pity for myself. I feel pity that I had to do what I did in the first place. I feel pity that I had to give up my life because of a situation
Shut
that should
your bitch
never have
ass up,
existed."
pussy.
Let's all take a moment of silence for the 9 victims of this terrible tragedy. On the Emmanuel 9 memorial pages, each victim has a writing. Let's read them. DePayne Middleton Doctor. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. As did DePayne Middleton Doctor. And sometimes, loved to sing in a heavenly alto soprano, the voice her 4 daughters keep in their hearts. Her life was a praise hymn. Cynthia Graham Hurd. She loved the word and loved words, a gifted and beloved librarian. Cynthia Hurd knew the power of words to transform lives. Books were sacred to her, so was family, always caring, sharing, encouraging, helping, giving. She lived full of hope. Susie Jackson. Susie Jackson gathered her big family around a table of love and fed them the bread of life. She was always cooking, always saying grace, a blessing across the generations. Everyone was welcome. Hers was an abundant, overflowing heart. Ethel Lee Lance. Ethel Lance made things sparkle. She sparkled, jazzy, joyful, full of life, empty of regret. She even met Martin Luther King once, who said, "I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear." The same was true of Ethel Lance. "You are even prettier in person." It's too great a burden to bear. The same was true of Ethel Lance. Clementa Pinckney. Reverend Pinckney was ordained into the ministry at 18 and became the youngest member of the South Carolina State Legislature at 23. He was leading Mother Emanuel into the future with education and achievements enough for several lifetimes. He loved his family infinitely. Clementa Pinckney lived on God's time. Tywanza Sanders. Beloved. That's Tywanza Sanders. Son, grandson, best friend. Ty was a grad student, a barber, a thinker, a doer, and a seeker who wrapped his arms around life like a hug. A beautiful young prince of a person. His smile matched his soul. Daniel Simmons. The prophet asked, "What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God. This was Daniel Simmons' life. Holy man, family man, military man, highly educated man. Studying was his hobby. So was kindness. Sharonda Coleman Singleton. Speech pathologist, teacher, track coach, doctoral student, minister, mother extraordinaire. Sharonda Coleman Singleton ran circles around life. Beautiful inside and out. She was a true champion. God was her finish line. Myra Singleton Thompson. A licentiate minister. She scattered seeds of faith wherever she went. As a teacher, counselor, minister, wife, mother, friend. Myra Thompson was a giver and helper. She grew up in the church and beautiful flowers grew in her yard. So did love. I want to thank all of the people again who have become members so far. I truly appreciate it. If you would like access to some perks, please do consider becoming a member. You can do so by hitting.
Alright, we back. So y'all see from that bitch, man, it's just like I said, man. They want to talk about black people, man, when that's all they do is bullshit, savagery, bullshit. That's what they known for. That's their whole point of even being on America, bitch, is savagery shit. Goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, me just, hey, the proof is in the pudding. Real one just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Check it on the bullshit. Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, and we're gonna keep Kevin 2 Turn gonna keep on being real. Hood and outside. Big crib in the game, that's that shit.
Hey Dad, you know dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.